Gosh, who turned off the lights? Jeez. Okay, better. Let's talk about Godot. Godot is an open source game engine widely known for its powerful ability to confuse people with its pronunciation. Uh, no, but seriously, as someone who's contributed to the engine and had their first internship working with it, I can tell you this: Godot has a lot going for it. The engine keeps growing and getting better every day, thanks to its highly dedicated community. Because of this, there are plenty of compelling reasons to start your next project with the blue robot or this anime waifu if that's more your style. I'm not judging. One of the biggest and the most obvious selling point of Godot is that it's completely free. See what I did there? You can fork the engine repo, modify it however you like, build it by yourself from the source code. Since it's open with the MIT license, there's no need to worry about random fees or licensing. No questions asked. It's everybody's game engine. The development environment here is one of my personal favorites. It's so cool that when you're making a game, you don't even have to leave the application. See, here's the code editor. It also has autocomplete, by the way, the built-in file explorer, and almost instant playtime. Everything seems to be perfectly streamlined, which can be excellent for people trying to put together a quick prototype or even just making a full-fledged game. Not only is it convenient, but it also boosts productivity, which is an easy win in my books. Speaking of easy wins, Godot uses GDScript, a scripting language that's as approachable as it is powerful. It's Python like, which means you don't have to deal with all that complicated syntax, while providing the performance on par with languages like C++ and C Sharp. Or you want your character to move and slide, just use the move and slide method. And despite all of these in-engine features and its broad range of 2D and 3D capabilities, it's shockingly lightweight. It says here that the size of this standalone executable is 57 megabytes. Larry, Larry, did you mess up the script?
No, it's actually 57 megabytes.
Damn, that's quite impressive.
Yeah, it is.
When you compare that to mainstream engines like Unity, which clocks in at 6 gigs for just the base engine, pair that with Visual Studio since there is no in-engine code editor and all the build dependencies for other platforms, you are already looking at around 10 gigs or more. It's unreal, am I right? No, I won't even try comparing this to Unreal. Another cool thing that this engine does is the intuitive signal system, which is a way for communication between all the nodes in your scene. No need for script references or component references. If you have used Unity, you know how messy it can get. But with all these niceties come some major flaws. The biggest deal breaker of all is 3D, which, don't get me wrong, it's great and it works, but it's not at the level where the commercial engines are. Just making a 3D scene look like the default Unreal Engine template can be quite a lot of work. And for all the indie folk out there, this might not be that bad. But when you pair that with a kinda inefficient, sorta weirdly implemented 3D physics engine, it can be a bit of a deal breaker. If you don't know, Godot handles the physics with the Physics Server 3D node. This is a low-level API working independently of the game scene, which gives you fine-grained control over physics operations at the cost of your sanity. This can be a great thing if you have unresolved childhood issues, but for normal people like you and me, it's a bit much. Another significant downside is the lack of support for console porting. Godot doesn't really have any official support for it since that requires proprietary SDKs which don't really go hand in hand with the engine's open source nature. This can be a huge limitation if you are aiming for a wide console release, but there's hope. A lot of publishers have started supporting porting for Godot, but it's not as mainstream as the other option. Now, with all my past experience and insights, I can tell you, it's a no-brainer if you're looking to make a 2D game. Seriously, if you have any 2D project in mind, you can't go wrong with Godot. It's also fantastic for prototyping, whether you're working on 2D or 3D. And if you're into creating low poly or stylized 3D games that don't rely heavily on complex physics, Godot is an excellent choice. By the way, I create videos on games and development, and game development, and games and develop. If that's your thing, feel free to subscribe. That would be cool. That'll make me happy. What's the fuck?